Good morning. We are winging it today. Don't mind all this. I'm going to go throw myself together really here in a little bit. I've got running around to do. I need to go get license plates for the car. I need to go to my credit union and see what's going on there. I gave my yard a once-over this morning just to see, the damage from the dogs in the winter. And don't let this nice weather fool you, because we are in some very odd February thaw. And I'm like looking at all of my plants. I am looking at the grass. I'm looking at a fence I need to repair. I'm looking at trees that need to come down. Try not to be overwhelmed. It's only February. You watch. It'll be nice today, tomorrow, and then we will get hit with another winter storm. It's the February thaw. We all get spring fever, cabin fever, and we think, oh my God, let's get out. Let's try to take advantage of this nice weather, when you're really probably doing more to your psyche than you realize, more damage. But how are you this morning? Got your electrolytes in your coffee, a little salt every morning in your coffee, just for a couple days in a row. You don't want to make a steady diet of it, because that salt does retain the water and you do get a little puffy. But when your body is aching and you are craving some little bit of energy, throw a little salt in your coffee. All the golfers do it. But I'm Kitryn Marie, reside in St. Louis, Missouri, an artist, writer, speaker, life, and a business coach. Teach a variety of art classes, group painting classes, how to put a vision board together. I'm based in life coaching. I business coach creative-minded women who want to start side hustles, who want to take their gifts and talents, and make a little money with what they know how to do. Monetize who they are, brand their identity. Published author, When He Had Her, available on Amazon. It is a light psych thriller. I'm in the process of writing my second book, Seaside Shore. I'm up to chapter 5, and hopefully later on today I will continue and try to write another chapter, trying to get in the right frame of mind, because man, if you are a writer or if you are any type of artist, you get lost in your work and you go deep down a tunnel trying to stay focused in your craft, and then coming out of it, sometimes it drains you and exhausts you. What else do I have going on? Oh, I wanted to talk a little bit about the restaurant industry. I don't know about the rest of you, but the restaurant industry in itself, it's not a difficult entity if it is run correctly. I kind of think of it in terms of baseball, as I have my Cardinal shirt on, which I did see the Cardinal tickets were like $20 last week or 2 weeks ago. They were trying to boost sales. So if you're in St. Louis, Missouri area and you want to go to a baseball game, go see our Cardinals. But the restaurant industry, it's not a difficult industry. And I'm going to use this analogy, and you might know where it comes from, and maybe you don't. But you throw the ball, you catch the ball, you hit the ball, you run the bases, you slide home. It's that simple if you do not make it complicated. The bigger problem is most people couldn't hit water if they fell out of the motherfucking boat. Now, if you know where all of those lines have come from. But people make things more complicated than they actually are. You come into the restaurant, you open the restaurant, you get the kitchen going. You run to the bank if you need to run to the bank. You set up your bar, you set up your station, you wait for the customers to come. You greet the customers, you seat the customers, you wait on the customers, you make small talk with the customers. The customers do not get to make the rules. They are there to be served. They are there for hospitality. They are there for an experience. As a server, as a bartender, you give them the experience. The atmosphere is clean. The atmosphere is pleasant. The music is low. You try to oversell. Do you want a dessert? Would you like an extra beverage? Can I grab you another beer? It's not rocket science. If you do the job correctly, you have a front of the house manager, you have a back of the house manager. Plain, clear, simple. You don't need a bunch of chiefs with not enough Indians. Customer gets served, customer gets checked on, you let customers linger a bit. You bring them their ticket, you collect the money, you let them sit a little longer, and you thank them for coming into your entity. And you say to them as they are leaving, thank you so much. I hope you your experience. Please come back and see us. You throw the ball, you hit the ball, you catch the ball, you run the bases, and you slide home. And you've made a sale. Some people make things more complicated than they need to be. Location, location, location. You consider weather. You consider cost. You constraint your hours. You scale down on your menu. You give people the opportunity to come in to see you on the hours that are available to run. You work on volume, you work on quantity, you work on being the best image that you can for the restaurant that you were representing. And that is coming from somebody who has worked in the industry 32 years. And at this point in life, I'm up to here with it because the industry in itself has become more difficult than what it needs to be. Another thing too, tip your server, tip your bartender. None of them are asking you to go broke, but understand what 15 and 20% looks like and understand how legislation doesn't pay servers or bartenders a decent wage. You're there for the experience. They're there to do a job. They're there to show you what they are capable of doing and what their personality is. You know, they are wining and dining and entertaining your table, making sure you are getting that experience. It is only up to you to compensate for that job well done. And that's the restaurant industry. I've been doing it for 32 years. I started out in 1994. I was a bartender, waitress, worked 4 days a week, made $900 a week take home. In that first 10 years that I worked in the food and beverage industry, it was mostly a cash endeavor. And now, as almost 65 years old, I am paying for that cash endeavor because my Social Security is like next to nothing, and I will have to work for a very, very long time. The issue with it at this point, I can't carry a tray hardly anymore. I worry about my left hip going out. I worry about a knee going out. And I'm still relatively svelty. I don't know exactly my weight, but, size 8, 5 foot. I don't have as much upper body strength as I used to. And it's starting to wear on the physical part of my body. So when you hear me talk about multi-stream incomes based on a gift and based on a talent, there's a reason. It's not that I don't enjoy going in and talking to the public or schmoozing or, again, entertaining the customer, giving them what they need, but it wears on a person when the industry in itself has changed and the customer base is no longer aware of what restaurant etiquette looks like. And that's where the problem lies within. So as I've been trying to, look to see what else is out there in the world and who's going to hire a 65-year-old, woman who can talk you to death or force feed you, leaning out of the industry is a given. I talked yesterday a little bit about hitting a ceiling, level of capacity, knowing what you are capable of doing within your own physical ability. Knowing what your agility is and knowing where your mind is at. Of all of the years that you have worked in your job with your experience, what else can you do with that knowledge? Who else can benefit from that knowledge? And if you have that craft that somebody needs in another capacity, why are you not trying to market what you can do in that capacity? I talk about that in my business coaching class. God forbid something happen and you can't do your job, then what are you going to do? Or you've been in your position and you have reached, the ceiling cap and you can't make ends meet. What do? You don't continue to work in an industry or work in a trade or a craft where there's no growth. And what is that doing to your physical body, your emotional being, your mental state? And think about the people then that you were coming in contact with outside of your work environment. What are you doing to them emotionally? Are you draining them because you were so physically drained and you have met the level of capacity and there isn't any more to give, there isn't any more to do, but yet you keep chasing a paycheck? Think about it. Think about your own job. Think about your knowledge. Think about your skill. Think about how far have you come and have you met that wall where you can't go past it and there isn't anything more than what it is. I think about that a lot in a lot of different industries because I have seen too many people who have become such a slave to the corporation and they have gotten themselves in a box that they don't know how to get out of. The running joke at the restaurant where I lend my hand, it's like, we'll stay till the training wheels fall off. Why would you wait till that to happen? If you look within your own capacity, your own skill level, your own ability to do more, and you could know to be happy, why would you wait till something falls apart? Why would you not be proactive and look to see what's on the other side? I talk about that in my vision board class when we are talking about how you fell into your career path. And was it really the career or job that you wanted to do, or it was just happenstance and life was easy at the time and that's the way that you fell? There's a big world out there, such a big world. And when you were constantly limiting yourself to a small mindset and a small belief that no longer exists, think about how it is just drains you mentally. Think about how emotionally depleted you have become. Yesterday was not a hard day at the restaurant at all, but there was something where there was a lot of chaos, a lot of verbal chaos, a lot of word salad, a lot of gaslighting. And as a life coach, I listen between the lines. I listen to, what everyone is saying. I watch body language. I look for pattern recognition. And by the time I was done, I couldn't get out of there quick enough. I wanted to go stop and do something because the weather was somewhat decent, although it was pretty foggy and like gray yesterday. Temperature-wise, it wasn't bad. I came home, I ate something. It was like 4 o'clock when I got home, and I laid down on the couch on purpose and fell asleep for 2 hours because it was like I was just emotionally spent. Emotionally spent. When you get to that point, you know it's time to leave. You know it's time to go. So I'm asking you, as my audience base, those that follow, those have, watched my nonsense for some time, what are you doing to better your life? What are you doing to get out of depletion mode? What is it about your skill or your trade that you can take it to the next level, where you just keep pushing the bar, knowing there is growth and there is purpose in what your availability is with the knowledge that you have? I'd love to hear. I'd love to know. There are so many different experiences and skills and knowledge that we all carry within, but too many times we're afraid to break out of that box that somebody has put you in. Where is your sea of change? What new path can you forge for yourself? What is it that you love that it can become a passion and a pleasure to go into your job? A pleasure to do what you know how to do? How can you map out what you're really asking for? Those are things I teach in my vision board class. The class is $65. It's private, or it can be a group. So today, as I'm trying to, forget about yesterday, think about today, think about tomorrow, think about growth, think about new patterns. I want to charge my camera up. I really, really want to get back on the road. As I was saying, that small town travel. Talk a little bit about history. Here, I'll give you a little tidbit because this was part of the meeting that I had the other day. Did you know, I'm in St. Louis, Missouri in the county. Did you know that Pacific, Missouri originally was named Franklin? Hence why it's called Franklin County now. Pacific, or Franklin, at the time, was developed in 1850. It was part of the Civil War, although there was never really a battle in Pacific, Franklin, Missouri. General Sterling Price came through there, destroying the town in itself. Missouri sat as the border state between the North and the South. Missouri was still a slave state. The town changed the name to Pacific when the railroad came through, because that is how surrounding counties were connected with the Missouri River that runs through it, the Merrimack that runs through there. It was great waterways for trade. There are probably 3 or 4 Civil War monuments, markers throughout Pacific, Missouri. So there's a little bit of tidbit there on history. Agriculture. There are so many surrounding farms. Wheat, soybean, a little bit of corn. There's probably, I think at this point in time, 9,000 people that reside in Pacific, Missouri. So that's just one little town that I've kind of done a little bit of research in. When I know I have an actual full day that I can get in my vehicle and and go take some pictures. You know, I've got land in Farmington, between Farmington and Fredericktown, Missouri. That there is a lot of history in there too. And I'm hoping to get through there in the next, I don't know, couple months. I'm really waiting for the weather to change and to turn. You know, I want to be able to get in my vehicle and drive. I want to be able to do a little, you know, sightseeing. But what about you? What's on your horizon? What can you do to change your scenery? What can you do that's going to bring a little joy into your life? What is it that you can do that you can create a new level of happiness for you? I'd love to know. If you're interested in taking any of my art or communication classes, reach out, kitrynmarie@gmail.com. For today, for tomorrow, be happy, be blessed, be thankful for everything. Remember, fate turns on a dime. It is up to you to decide what side of that coin you want to be on. Throw the ball, hit the ball, catch the ball, run the bases, and slide home. There's so much more on the other side of home. Y'all take care, and I'll see you soon. Bye.